Again. So there are a lot of people that go around giving Adam and Eve a hard time, basically saying how much beef they have with them because of, the whole fall thing. But you know who I've got beef with, and I haven't really heard anyone else talk too much about it? Solomon. Now, according to Bereshit Rabbah, which is like a Jewish midrash, Adam was only like 20 years old when he was made. And though the Bible doesn't necessarily say exactly how old Solomon was when he took the throne, he was anywhere from 20 to 30 by best estimates. Not to mention the fact that he was, given the gift of wisdom to reign over God's people at the beginning of his reign. But I don't think you could find a better example of someone who was set up for such a great amount of success and blew it at every step of the way. Like, literally go down the list of Deuteronomy 17. Like how the king should not have great numbers of horses and, better yet, get them from Egypt, and he had both. How kings shouldn't accumulate great amounts of wealth, but then he's getting 666 talents of gold per year, which is also the number for the Antichrist. And kings don't multiply wives for yourselves, and he had 700 wives and 300 concubines. And among his wives were Egyptians, Moabites, Edomites, Hittites, etc., all the people that he wasn't supposed to intermarry with. And why was he not supposed to have all those wives and foreign wives? Because they lead him astray. And you want to know what happened? They led him astray. He followed Ashtoreth and Molech. He set up high places all around Jerusalem, all on the outer perimeter to their gods, and offered up burnt incenses and sacrifices and did these rituals. He's like literally the example of not running your household well. And then from there, we see how he raises his children. Because he didn't rule his kingdom well and lead his household well and raise his children well, Rehoboam ends up causing a rebellion that led to the split of the northern kingdom of Israel and then the southern kingdom of Judah. Like, what even happened to train up your children in the way they should go, and when they're older, they will not depart from it? It's like Solomon didn't even read his own book. And then because of that, all like the awful stuff in the rest of the Old Testament kept on happening and had to happen, and all the like, I can't even tell you how much beef I have with Solomon, because like all of that was just unnecessary. And understand, like, the king of Israel isn't like a prophet from Islam or even like Joseph Smith or something like that. The idea is they're the king of Israel. Well, who's the real king of Israel? It's God. So the king is the one who represents God to the people. It's not like, oh, well, the king gets all these special privileges, but we don't. It's like, no, the king behaves this way, so the people have to behave this way. And so if the king isn't behaving the way he's supposed to be behaving, what do you think is going to end up happening to the people? Remember, all of those marriages were political marriages. All the wealth was to have a more secure kingdom. The Queen of Sheba coming, that was just to bolster the knowledge and the praise of Israel. When you think about it, Solomon did what he did for Israel. But Solomon's main problem is that despite his intentions, his riches, his wisdom, he was more concerned with building his kingdom and not God's kingdom. And God put up with Solomon despite all his failures, the same way that he put up with David despite all David's failures. Because God made a covenant with David that God wasn't going to break, and that love extended to Solomon. And we're in a very unique position, and I'd say in a very similar position, because God won't take away his love from us because of his love for David, the new David, the real King David, the one who sits on David's throne, Jesus Christ. With the caveat of course, Jesus being the one who David, Solomon, and Adam even, and us, were supposed to be, because he's perfect. So the main takeaway is, in spite of all the failures that you have, with God's perpetual love to you through the sacrifice of Jesus Christ, will you dedicate your life to building your kingdom, or are you building God's kingdom? Just some food for thought. But anyway, regardless, let all that you do be done from Christ to Christ. God bless you. Like, for real, not enough people complain about Solomon. Like instead, y'all always give Peter a hard time.